This is David Kerr. I am going to make a video on how to buy a house, your first steps on buying a house. This is my first time using OBS, so work with me. I like these longer form pieces of content, so I'm gonna make them longer. I mean, these short videos are good for your attention span, but I think that you might not even have to watch this. You can just listen and maybe get some value out of it. So we're gonna jump right into it. What are the first things that you should do when you're looking to purchase a house, right? Well, first thing you're gonna wanna do is reach out to a lender and get what is called a pre-approval. A pre-approval is important because you need to know what your purchasing power is. So I recommend everybody to use Movement Mortgage. Specifically, it's totally up to you who you want to use. I purchased my house through Movement Mortgage. I'm obviously very happy with the service that I got if I'm referring them out. So first thing you're going to want to do is reach out to me, obviously, and I'll recommend you to the specific loan officer that I would recommend you to use. What they're going to ask you is a bunch of questions. You're going to feel like they're probing you, and you might feel even uncomfortable, but this is what keeps the market safe, and also it also keeps you from over leveraging yourself. They want to make sure that they're backing good loans, right? So when you're getting started and you come in here, you're going to hit that you're purchasing a new property. Now, I can only go so far on this without filling the full application out, but they're going to ask your name, email address, your phone number, marital status, and the next one they're going to put getting to know you. They're going to ask, what's your gross monthly income? What do you do? What are your chances of staying in the position that you're in? Is there any chance that you could get laid off or get your wages lowered in any way? They're gonna then ask you what your assets are. Do you own a home? What are you paying? If you rent, they're gonna ask you how long you've been renting there. They're gonna ask you what you're paying, obviously, for rent. And really, again, this whole reason this is so important is because you wanna know how much you can afford. And a lot of people don't realize how much they can actually afford. Rent right now is increasing. I believe it's 17% year to date. That is insane. One really great thing about purchasing a house is you have, of course, equity that's going to be built. It's forced equity. There's a principal amount every month that goes into technically a big savings account, your home. But the next great thing is your interest rate is locked in for 30 years. You're going to get a fixed rate mortgage. And the reason that is important is because it will not fluctuate. It's going to stay locked in, and your mortgage payment will not go all over the place like a balloon. So I got into why that was so important to do that. Again, the next thing is they're going to look at your credit score. Really, you need at least a 580 credit score to get a mortgage. There may be some lenders out there that will give you a mortgage, but you're going to be paying a pretty high mortgage rate. Right now, they're at like 3.82. And they're up to about 4.1. And the Fed is meeting on the 15th and 16th of this month, March. And they said in the last meeting that rates are going to go up, most likely 0.25% per meeting. So that's not going to be good. And I just went over a cost sheet with a buyer earlier, and on a $200,000 house, 0.25% was $35 just in interest. That's a big deal. $35 more into a mortgage if you're already at a maximum number that you would like to stay under. 0.25% means that you're not going to have as much purchasing power. The word is right, but the key of thumb, whatever that's called, but per $10,000 in a mortgage is $28. And how I did that, 10,000 divided by 360, I believe it comes out to $28 and some change. So that gives you an idea again. The next thing you're going to look at is debt to income. There's a bunch of calculators on the website that you can use. 43% is the max ratio that they're going to allow. So that's important to get on there. Just see what your debt is per month, what your income is, and obviously obviously the ratio will be provided to you. So that's really important. Once you go through that, again, Movement Mortgage, they're going to turn that pre-approval over to you faster than anybody that I ever in 5 years worked with. They've never given out pre-approvals as fast as Movement Mortgage. And they actually will underwrite them, I believe, in 2 weeks. So, I mean, you can close in 14 days. The reason we can't, and that's a mortgage. If you cash, we know you can close in 14 days. The thing that holds you up in Pittsburgh is Jordan tax, and everybody's getting pretty sick of hearing it, but of course they blame COVID. So after you do that, of course, reach out to me. Let me know about what you got in your pre-approval, and we're gonna find out what neighborhoods you wanna live in. We're gonna look at, this is exactly what I'm gonna do from my end. You're gonna come up here. We're gonna look at everything that's active. We can come into here to areas. Let's say you're from Pittsburgh, you know it can get confusing. 90 some neighborhoods in Pittsburgh, right? These are all neighborhoods that you can pick from. If you don't know where you want to live, again, reach out to me. We can have that conversation, pros and cons of each neighborhood, maybe get you in on the weekends to drive around, get a good idea of where you want to live, where you can afford to live, the amenities in these areas. It's important to know. And of course, it makes it it makes it easier to find a home in a competitive market if you really know exactly where you want to live as far as neighborhood. And we can come in here and let's just say you're looking for 3 or more bedrooms, looking for at least, let's say 1.5 bathrooms. Usually, of course, that half bath is going to be on the main floor. Your full one is going to be on the second floor. I hate when I see it, but some people do consider your Pittsburgh basement, or excuse me, your Pittsburgh potty as a bathroom. I hate when I go into a house with a buyer that specifically wants that half bath on the main level. And yes, I understand that you have the ability when putting a listing in to tell the agent and their buyer where that bathroom's at, but they don't do it, not always. So anyway, you have the option on if you want to do a condominium, if you want to live in a condominium. There is a co-op. If you don't know what a co-op is, I might be able to make another video for that. But just briefly, a co-op, you're buying shares, let's say, of a company. So if there's 1,000 shares in a building and each unit is, let's say, 1,000 square foot, there would be 100 shares, right? I don't think my math was correct there, but your insurance, your taxes, everything is going to be rolled into one big payment and the building shares it. Residential, single family, and then townhouses. So you can go down to style. If you don't know the style, you can select them all. If you know you don't want baseboard heat, and you know you don't want heat pump, and you know you don't want hot water or radiant heat, you can pick specifically, I want gas forced air, and you want gas over here. You can pick your architectural style. If you need a garage, we can come in here and select a garage. But you get my drift here. If you want a basement, you can hit yes or no. You can come down as far as even choosing your construction. One other really cool thing, if you're looking for specifically a log cabin, there's no option up here to choose a log cabin. But what I can do is I would hope if there's a log cabin out there that somewhere in that agent remarks, the property description, they would mention that it is a log cabin. So I can get specific in agent remarks and hit log cabin. That's pretty cool. I can get, let's say you're an investor and you're looking for properties that need work. What do agents say whenever a property needs work? TLC, maybe they'll put in needs some love. So I'm just doing keyword searches, right? I can put in well kept, well cared for, words that soften that blow on properties that need work. In the public remarks, data actually shows that when the agent puts as is in the property description, those houses sell for less. So where would they hide that? They would hide it in the agent remarks. And what the agent remarks are is an area where only licensed real estate agents can read it. So sometimes they'll put as is down there. They'll put that municipality requirements are passed off to the buyer. They'll put in there that the seller needs a longer close. My point is, whatever your keyword is, I can search it. Agent remarks, you can even put in like lots of light. You can put anything in there, but that's pretty cool. After you do that, I am just going to pick one here for an example. Somewhere in here, I must have clicked something. I'm just going through figuring out I must have clicked something here. It's not giving me any options. I'm going to go back into search, active, and I'm going to hit Allegheny East and South and West. So they're giving me 891 matches. I'll hit results. Your agent will come in here and hit an auto email. Now it's too broad. If you told me that many zip codes, I'd be like having nightmares tonight, because we got to get you reeled in on exactly where you want to live. Pretty important. Probably the most important too is I forgot price. So we're going to go 500 minus, and there's going to be an entire list. Now what's pretty cool is I can put you on an auto email. I can create a new contact for you, and what that's going to look like every day. I can put you on an every day. I can put you on an ASAP. I can put you on twice a day or even once a month. And usually the once a month is for a seller that just wants to keep an eye on what property values or what's going on in their market. But usually I put it on daily. If you really are zoned in on a specific neighborhood, I would put you on ASAP, because if I put you on ASAP in an entire county, I'm going to destroy your email. You're going to get so many emails that you're going to quit looking at them and you're going to miss out. So after I do that, one other cool thing about this is you'll get about a 4 hour heads up, because you're coming directly out of the West Penn multi-list and you're getting an email. So as soon as a property would hit the market, you would get an email. It usually takes about 4 hours for Zillow, Trulia, Homes.com, you name it, Realtor.com, for them to get it. So this is the main source of where they're getting their listings. So you will have a little bit of a head start to other buyers that might not be hooked up on a auto email. And 4 hours really does matter if the property is, for one, vacant and easy to show. And let's say most realtors aren't going to list a house at 10 o'clock at night, so they'll list it first thing in the morning. And if that house is easy to show, it's vacant, and your realtor and you can match up your schedules and get in there first thing in the morning when that house is listed, maybe even before Zillow and Realtor.com, before those buyers that haven't, met a realtor yet, or they somehow think that they don't need one, let's say, until it's time to put an offer in. Well, hey, you got a realtor, you can get into the house, and if you're the first one to put an offer in, there's kind of a little saying where the first offer is going to be the best. So, hey, you come in there and you put a nice, strong offer in on that property, they might accept it, not even wait. Boom, they got their number, you waived inspections, let's say, and they accept your offer. I think I put the offer in on my house. It was on the market less than 24 hours, and they didn't pull that goofy tactic of, well, we're going to call for highest and best 4 days later. They didn't pull that, luckily, with the house that I bought, so thankful for that. But speed also definitely was a factor in how fast I got that offer in. So that's it. I mean, what do you have to look for? And get into another video on what to look for as you're walking into a house. Of course, I'm not a licensed home inspector or licensed contractor, so I can't give you specific advice, but I can walk you through and say, okay, this is what to look for. This is what was a mistake that I made on mine. The hot water tank. The hot water tank blew on the first day. I thought that I checked the water when I was here and felt it. Yeah, but first day, I luckily had a buddy that was, what's that called when you get good deals at Home Depot? Contractor discount or whatever. So I was able to get it for a decent price, and then they installed it. I mean, I could have avoided that totally by just checking the water. A lot of things buyers check for some reason is water pressure, most likely because they're in rental properties that have bad water pressure, and you get all these infomercials that by putting a different shower head, it's going to change the water pressure. Maybe, but why not just go to the source and fix it from the source? That's an option too. Usually foundation is another one people look for. Of course, I can show you a couple images maybe on another video on things to look for. Really, one thing to look for is on concrete foundation with concrete block. When the cracks are through the joints area, it's usually not a huge deal. Obviously, there's some pressure on that wall naturally. If they're on the joints, that doesn't take a whole lot of pressure to settle and then create a little crack. When you got to worry about a crack is when they are from wall to wall and they're right through the joint compound or through the mortar in their crack, and you can obviously see a perfect bowing wall. Okay, yeah, that's it. That's definitely going to be an issue. The next one is when you see cracks right through the center of the concrete block. That's going to be a problem too, because it takes an awful lot of pressure to snap a cinder block right in half. So that's, again, what to look for. Make sure your hot water heats up. Your furnace, you're going to want to make sure, even if it's in the summer, jack up that heat on the furnace. Feel it. Just make sure that the water is good on it. All the windows in the place that I just bought obviously needs pretty much every single window but one needs to be replaced. If you're looking to get into a house right now because the interest rates are low and rents are skyrocketing and you're tired of paying somebody else's mortgage because you think that you don't have any responsibilities when you rent a house, you don't have any responsibilities in the sense that you don't have to fix anything. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that is true. But if you do a home inspection on a house and you know what you're getting into, and let's say you get a home warranty for that first year, you're pretty safe. Could there be things that go wrong? Sure. But I think I would rather have that fixed amount that I'm going to be spending every single month. It's not going to keep increasing on me. Plus, I'm getting that forced savings back in the form of equity. So every single month, it's like I have a savings problem. I know that. I personally have a savings problem. Now I'm getting a payment every single month that's going into, in a sense, a big savings account, a big piggy bank that eventually I can take a hammer and smash it and pull out what's called a cash out refinance, or just sell the place outright or rent it. I mean, if you get a good property, the rents are skyrocketing, and remember, your monthly payment is going to stay the same. That's pretty cool, I could say myself. What else could I hit on? I think I pretty much hit everything. Obviously, the most important thing is going to be talking to a lender first. There's a reason why you want to use a referral as far as who your realtor recommends you to use. Here's the thing. I know if I would have reached out to my specific loan officer that I recommend to myself and to buyers, I know that she would respond. I don't know how late, but I know if you texted her and said, hey, I need a pre-approval or I need a cost sheet for this specific amount at 9 o'clock. Remember, these people, agents, lenders, closing companies, they're all commission-based. Not all of them. You go into some of these branch ones that specifically that don't work just in mortgages, they're getting paid by the hour. They don't care if you message them at 7 o'clock or even at 5:30 in the evening. They don't care because they're coming in, they're going to make the same amount. And if they are on commission, they're on such a low amount of commission that it's not worth them keeping their phone on after 5 o'clock. And that's a big problem whenever, for instance, tonight we got an offer accepted and they wanted to reach out and get a specific cost sheet. Guess what? They called them twice, no answer. And that's one of the big name brokerages that doesn't specialize in mortgages. Use somebody that specializes just in mortgages in local. If you watch a Super Bowl commercial and you use one of those lenders on there because they had some cool QR code that you could scan, I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, if they would have to give me one heck of a deal to use a big, massive Silicon Valley company. There's going to be 12 people touching that transaction. How many problems could come up with 12 people? 3 or 4 people is too many, in my opinion, to be touching the underwriting process on it. Could you imagine 12 realtors trying to sell you a house? 12 different personalities? I wouldn't. I couldn't imagine. But yeah, that's it. I've hit on the pre-approval. I've hit on talking to the realtor. I've hit on getting you saved on a email campaign so that you'll beat anybody else that's not on one by 4 hours. The next process is going to be, of course, getting it under contract and negotiating it hard. We'll get into that in another video. I appreciate you coming in here and watching these longer form videos. I'm going to be posting this on YouTube and anywhere else that videos get posted. Maybe we'll break it up and make it a little bit smaller just to try to drive some traffic from other short form entertainment sites, and we'll go from there. But if you like this, hit that like button. If you have any questions or want me to make any other videos, put them in the comment section. Send me a private message if you want me to help you in purchasing a home or selling a home. Of course, I can help with anything related to real estate. So again, this is David Kerr. I'm with the Kerr Company, Coldwell Banker Realty, Shadyside. Appreciate you watching this video. Thank you.